With just 17 days left until the highly anticipated clash between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira, Topuria has dropped intense training camp footage, and he looks unstoppable. The video showcases his speed, power, and unrelenting intensity, all at an all-time high. Razor-focused and fiercely determined, Ilia is training like a man who refuses to lose. His dominance and confidence shine through in every drill, every strike, and every move. This is a fighter ready for war. Topuria's conditioning looks elite in his latest training camp, showcasing relentless cardio, explosive movement, and quick recovery between intense drills. His ability to maintain a high pace without fading could be a crucial advantage against a seasoned opponent like Oliveira. Mentally and physically, Topuria appears ready for a 5-round war.
That's heart versus brain right there. Your heart says Charles, your brain says Ilia. Ilia moving up. I don't think he's going to be... The reason you don't move up for the most part is because you don't want to... People are stronger. Physically, just a lot stronger. I don't think that's going to be the case in Ilia versus Charles. I don't think Ilia's going to... Charles gonna be that much stronger, but his frame's quite a bit bigger. But he's probably his whole life been fighting people that are bigger because he's 5 foot. He's not a big stature guy. So I don't think that's gonna necessarily be an issue.
Charles, he just stands so high. He has like this Muay Thai stance. He marches forward with knees. He whips head kicks. Both the guys like to come forward and back the person up. So they're gonna collide. And there's ways. Ilia's so short. He tilts his head. He ducks his head. There's ways those knees could line up very easily and drop Ilia Topuria. But again, the way he stands so tall and the way Ilia punches to the body so well and then hides him and comes up top.
What if Charles got a head kick knockout on Topuria?
I mean, I wouldn't.
Little switch, bank.
Wouldn't be that surprised.
Right?
I just wouldn't. But that's gonna be a banger.
I typically look at, when you get two guys like these two that are very, very good, then you start looking at their defensive responsibilities and who has the larger deficiency. That's 100% Charles Oliveira. He's so hittable. Yeah. He loves to fight into wars. Ilia Topuria does not engage in bullshit. He's super crisp, very, very clean boxer, but goes to the body well, leg kicks really well, so strategic and so well thought out, and has an incredibly high fight IQ. I just don't know how Charles Oliveira stays safe in any kind of striking range, fighting the way that he fights with Ilia Topuria. I just think that he's going to get hit hard. He's going to get hurt. And I don't know that he can take down Ilia Topuria. And if he did, I don't know that he would out-grapple him.
Who do you think wins, Ilia or Charles?
Interesting matchup. The both guys has changed. Like if Ilia hit Charles Oliveira head, so he can knock him down for sure. But I think Oliveira is so big for him and for all-rounder fighter, and I think Oliveira will win this fight.
You think Oliveira's gonna win? I haven't heard a lot of people say that.
I think so. He is big. It depends how his performance will be in the fight, because sometimes he looks bad, but sometimes he looks fantastic. So I think that in the ground he will be much better for Ilia. Especially like the gabarit is much different. Oliveira is big guy, Ilia is small guy. So if Oliveira catch him in the ground, I think this is gonna be big problem. But like I say, Ilia can knock him out for him also, you know. So this is like 50-50, but I think Oliveira will win.
Vamos a empezar a hacer uno de los entrenamientos que menos me gusta hacer.
12 tramos de 100 metros.
No eran 10.
Siempre queda 2 más. Tú nunca sabes lo que puede pasar en una pelea.
I would say Ilia Topuria, given everything that he's done in the sport, the confidence that he's shown, the manifestation, as the kids say, but bringing it all to a reality, knocking out everyone in his way, doing it in absolute style, hardly breaking a sweat, not having to fight through any adversity, not being the hammer and the nail. He's just been the hammer, just hammering his way through everyone. If he beats Charles Oliveira, which I would assume that he's going to be the favourite to do, and that's with absolutely no disrespect towards Charles Oliveira.
Ilia beats Charles then?
I think he might, to be honest. Charles is a bit chinny, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's had about 40 fights or something. He always gets punched. He always gets cracked.
Yeah.
So,
he's reckless, but he's super exciting.
Yeah, he is.
And he's dangerous.
Exciting. If he gets him down, I can see him winning, because that 10 pounds difference
comes this assassin.
Yeah.
He's just and he just has no quit in him. He's just an animal. Yeah. And it's just like everybody just forgot about that old shit. Like, no, he's the man.
Yeah.
And they forgot about the Cup Swanson fight. They forgot about all these other fights. They forgot about the Paul Felder fight. They forgot about those fights. Like, all that fight. What is he capable of?
Now.
Oliveira's a monster. People think of Oliveira as not being a monster because there's times that people have beaten him. But he got better. You got to accept that and not think of like when he lost.
Because so many people, well, who gets better at 35?
I don't believe he's 35.
No?
I think he's 33. And I also think that he got into the UFC when he was 20. But he came into his own over the last few years, which kind of makes sense. Like,
when I look at this fight, I think of this fight stylistically. I think, okay, the explosive power and the power in the hands, and it's crazy to say that. You have to go with more of Ilia Topuria, right? Ilia Topuria goes high, low. He can go to the body. He can go up top. He's been knocking people out cold. That means Max Holloway, 2 future Hall of Famers he knocked out. None of those guys went championship rounds. We saw him one time at 155 pounds where he did get hurt against Burns, against Jai Herbert, but he got hurt. He got dropped, but the matador in him, he came back and he ended up knocking. Charles Oliveira is the bigger fighter. Charles Oliveira has fought the who's at 155 pounds. I mean, everything absolutely changes, man, with Charles Oliveira taking down Michael Chandler, with Charles Oliveira taking down Justin Gaethje with those beautiful double legs. But I will say this, when I think of this fight, I always think of the distance that Charles Oliveira brings, and particularly he likes to be in close. And the fact that he likes to be in close with an inside fighter, it doesn't make sense. That was one thing. The person that needs to make adjustments in this fight, typically you would say the lighter fighter, the smaller fighter going up, but not really. Charles Oliveira has been dropped by just about everybody that he's fought, from Chandler to Gaethje to Islam. I mean, what happens when you go up against a dude that's knocking people out, not TKOing people, knocking people out cold like Ilia Topuria? So when I'm looking at this fight, I'm saying Charles Oliveira is the guy that has to make those adjustments. If not, it's going to be the double champ. It's going to be Ilia Topuria securing himself as a 2-division world.
I would say Ilia Topuria, given everything that he's done in the sport, the confidence that he's shown, the manifestation, as the kids say, but bringing it all to a reality, knocking out everyone in his way, doing it in absolute style, hardly breaking a sweat, not having to fight through any adversity, not being the hammer and the nail. He's just been the hammer, just hammering his way through everyone. If he beats Charles Oliveira, which I would assume that he's going to be the favourite to do, and that's with absolutely no disrespect towards Charles Oliveira.
For Dana, Ilia Topuria did an interview a few minutes ago where he said the winner of this fight is going to determine whether he fights Islam Makhachev or Charles Oliveira on International Fight Week. Can you confirm that that's the stakes attached to this main event too?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts right now, and yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Charles Oliveira against Ilia Topuria is
it's a good fight.
It's an unbelievable scrap.
It's an unbelievable, but unless Topuria does not look the same at 155, which is a possibility because they hit harder at 155. You know, there could be what if Charles is still there in the 3rd round, the 4th round? Ilia can't get him out of there. Then it becomes
two, I would say, top 5 pound for pound dressers.
Yeah.
UFC.
Absolutely. Well, it's so interesting, right? Because, sometimes you can tell a lot about someone, the way that they dress a little bit. And you have Charles Oliveira, who, is very flashy. He'll certainly be the more colorful guy in the suit. He always comes with like a green or a red or something wild. Hair dyed, all that stuff. And then Ilia Topuria kind of like, your clean, kind of normal type suits, but everything, really well done.
I'm having a hard time getting Ilia in there with Islam. And Islam's entire situation, or his entire argument is, I've done this not just once, I've done this twice. It's everything to gain for you, and I have nothing. When the reality is, this should be the undisputed champion versus the BMF champion. That's what this should be. Ilia Topuria should be right now the BMF champion. And it's not the first time the mistake has been made to walk a BMF champion out there.
And everyone started yelling, the kids screaming and all that. Training had just ended and so on. I grabbed the phone, saw thousands of messages, went straight to Diego. That's it. Let's go. We're ready. 46 days. 46 days for this belt to return where it never should have left. We'll focus on what matters, stay sharp, and make it happen. I'm not fixated on their moves, but on what we can bring and take. My team will map out Tupula so we can plan our...
Sorry, Max, just one more. I know you had good praise for Ilia there. Dana was in here. He said you are still the BMF champion, but Ilia's strutting around backstage with the UFC belt on one shoulder and his BMF one on the other. Just your thought on that.
I mean, it is what it is. It is. It wasn't, could you imagine Islam walking around with 2 belts after knocking out Volk? Let that sink in, The belt was in a different weight class for a different reason.
Ilia Topuria. He said, you know what? I want to go up to 155 pounds, fight the #1 contender, and then if he wins that, then he fights Islam. I think that's good, brother. I think he deserves.
I think if you move up and he beats somebody like Dustin Poirier or Charles Oliveira, he's next. Why not? Because there is nobody.
So you don't think right now Ilia deserves a shot at 155 pounds?
Without fighting in 155? Without? No, I don't agree. Because Islam already give chance, and people talk bad about like, oh, he fight 2 times with Volkanovski, but...
Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira has just been announced, and I'm having mixed feelings, man. I'm gonna be honest, because I'm someone who really wanted to see Ilia fight Islam Makhachev. That would have been one of the best fights the UFC could make right now, in my opinion. I think the best fight. And now we're not going to have it. Yes, Islam is going to be moving up to 170 to try to become a double champion now. Not a simultaneous one, because he just vacated the belt. This fight between Ilia and Charles...
I think the lightweight division is the most exciting division right now. It's just death row in the lightweight division at the moment. Like the top 5, dude, that guard up there right now, it's just killers, man.
But especially with Ilia Topuria entering the mix, right? The whole big story over the past week was he obviously vacated the title at featherweight, but apparently he said the UFC told him, we promise you a title opportunity if you vacate. That's what he told Spanish media. Or I think he said as a backup he would fight.
So guys, International Fight Week is going to be Charles Oliveira versus Ilia Topuria. Usually I'd wait for a podcast, but we're not doing that one this week. I'm going on vacation. So I just wanted to mention, one, Islam Makhachev being stripped of the title, but not John Jones being stripped of his title is the most BS thing I've ever heard in my life. I hate that. What is the UFC doing right now? Islam Makhachev has been the guy for the last 5 years, and John Jones has been a guy who doesn't want to fight. So, next, Charles...
Y que será en Las Vegas el 28 de junio, y es que todavía no sabes contra quién vas a pelear.
No, que es Islam y es Charles.
Islam es más grande que tú, 8 centímetros más alto. Makhachev, si es Makhachev, te va a intentar tirar al suelo. Y tú dices,
claro,
tú dices que el suelo es un punto...
intentarlo y conseguirlo hay una gran diferencia. Nunca se ha enfrentado.
Is vacated, right? So that's the difference now. Is Topuria is saying like, I'm no longer at that division. Like, I'm now at lightweight.
With the confidence from knocking out Holloway and Volkanovski back to back, he thinks that, hey, I can knock these guys out. But the only fight he's had at 55, he's gotten dropped by Jai Herbert. And then we've seen him get like out-muscled and out-wrestled by a couple guys at 45. I think Islam's just going to be
is so good. He's so good that he head kicked Alexander Volkanovski in the rematch. He submits everybody. He submitted Dustin Poirier. He's a monster. When he gets guys on the ground, he just crushes them. And you could argue that he's dealing with a deeper talent pool So his weight class is, in my opinion, the most talent-rich weight pool in the sport. 155 pounds is filled with assassins.
Be careful what you wish for, right? You got a lot of guys in your division, you still have to fight. And Ilia's getting to that point, right, where you're undefeated, you're getting a lot of hype. So now you're starting to call out and, play that game of trying to be like the next McGregor. But you don't want to mess with Islam because, like they said, like it's different there. You want a street fight, they'll street fight you. He sees you, you disrespect him, he's going to show you what disrespect means.
The thing about Oliveira is everybody looks at Oliveira at his lowest points. And his lowest points, Cub Swanson knocked him out, Paul Felder smashed him, all these people beat him. But something happened when that dude had a kid. And there's a fire inside of him like the fucking center of the sun. And I don't know what it is, man, but he's a different human, man. He goes right into the line of fire, too. Straight. He's not taking any shortcuts. It's all risk. And he's 100% confident. Doesn't matter how hard you hit him, he's going to be fine.
Dana, Ilia Topuria did an interview a few minutes ago where he said the winner of this fight is going to determine whether he fights Islam Makhachev or Charles Oliveira on International Fight Week. Can you confirm that that's the stakes attached to this main event, too?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts right now, and